Nando back with one more video, and today's video is simply about switching between an iPhone and Android. More specifically, going from an iPhone to a Galaxy S8 or S8 Plus. Now, with the release of the new Galaxy S8 line, there's going to be, and there has been, and there currently is, a huge influx of people that are considering leaving behind their iPhone, their precious iPhone, the one smartphone that they've known probably their entire lives, or at least for the majority of it, and going over to what they want to call the dark side, or that other side that you've seen plastered across TV, that you've seen your friends use, that everyone states, well, everyone that uses or likes Android has stated is the better alternative. Now, this video is not meant to give you a step-by-step in order for you to make that migration from iOS to Android as smooth as possible. It's just some things to consider when going from iOS to Android. Currently, I am using an iPhone myself. I love Apple. I have an Apple Watch. I have Apple AirPods. I have an iPad Pro, and I have the newest MacBook Touch Bar. With that being said, I love Android. With that being said, I love technology. Okay, so I love technology as a whole. Everything about technology. So when a company introduces technology, introduces some new features, some new design, new hardware, new software, it grabs my attention. And I am a firm believer in being able to give someone else a shot. Why discriminate against the competition if it could actually improve your life? It can actually improve your day-to-day. Okay, think about that for a second. There's so many people out there that refuse to use the opposite operating system. I'm not saying just Apple fanboys refusing to use Android or vice versa. Okay, I'm saying that there's people that are so stuck in their ways, refuse to learn or try something new when it could actually benefit them or help them. Nonetheless, if you're considering going from Apple or an iPhone to Android, in this particular case, the Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus, there's a few things you need to think about. For one, iMessage. iMessage is probably single-handedly the biggest reason why the younger generation or the young people are stressing about when going from iOS to Android. Why? Because iMessage is strictly Apple's domain, Apple's bread and butter. That's kind of how they sucked us in over the years. Let me explain. iMessage is instant. iMessage now gives you stickers like Facebook Messenger, like Snapchat, like things that iMessage allows you to send audio chats. iMessage allows you to use voice chat. iMessage is instant. iMessage, if it doesn't work, then becomes a regular SMS text message. iMessage works between your Apple Watch, your iPad, your Mac, your iPhone. That's iMessage. So I get it. Believe me, I get it. When you start texting a friend and you see the green bubble, not the blue bubble, people tend to freak out. Like, I, for one, using an iPhone, turn off iMessage. And I'll tell you why. I love to switch phones. I switch them as soon as I can get my hands on a new phone and that I can afford it. I'm over to the other platform. Try it out, play with it, review it, enjoy it, possibly keep it. Because I do that so often, I hate losing, or in the past, iMessage had that issue that when switching or turning off iMessage and going to Android, text messages weren't coming in. They weren't coming in at the appropriate time, or they were just lost, period. And Apple was sued because of that. Apple had to deal with that. So now they made it a little easier because you can turn off iMessage before going over to Android, and that makes the transition a little smoother. But that's serious. That's something you need to consider. If you're thinking about going from iOS and Apple to Android, think about it. How much do you value iMessage? Think about that. The second biggest thing, the ecosystem. I'm not even going to put the ecosystem as the biggest thing. I put it second biggest, or the second point I'm trying to make, because not everybody can afford to invest into the Apple ecosystem. I have saved up and I've chosen to spend my money the way I have in order to be in that ecosystem. So when I say I have Apple Watch, I need an iPhone to use that, okay? When I have an iPad, I don't need any other Mac or just Apple in general related product to use that. But when you combine an iPhone with an iPad and a MacBook Pro and an iMac and an Apple Watch and Apple AirPods, it's very, very hard to break away from it. Apple knows that. That's how they market things. Apple knows that. That's how they build this ecosystem. Because there's something to be said about getting a text message on your Apple Watch, okay? Not reading it, but reading it on your iPad, or dismissing it on your iPhone, starting something on your iPhone, finishing it on your iPad, continuing it on your MacBook Pro. You get where I'm going with that. So if you are invested in the ecosystem, consider this. Like, how invested are you? If you remove the iPhone, which in my opinion is single-handedly the most important piece of this puzzle that I just mentioned, if you remove that, will you still be able to enjoy your Apple Watch? No. Will you still be able to watch or enjoy your AirPods? Yes, to an extent. Will you be able to still enjoy your MacBook Pro, your Mac line, your iPad? Yes. Those devices can be used standalone. You don't need anything else to get the most out of it. You really don't, in my opinion. But how invested are you that if you remove the iPhone from that puzzle, will you still be able to enjoy the other products in a way that you're not going to regret the change? Okay. The third biggest thing about making the switch from iOS to Android is the fact that when you go into the Android ecosystem, you're going to be overwhelmed, okay? You're going to feel like there's a lot of things you don't know anything about. There's going to be things that you're just not going to understand why Android chooses to do that, because with Apple, you're spoon-fed. It's like going into IKEA and you see the arrows across the floor, and you know that if you follow that arrow, if you follow that path that's been traced out for you, as IKEA has done, you're going to get probably the best experience. You're going to go through the store, you're going to experience the things as IKEA places them out for you, and then you're finally going to reach your destination, the end point, hopefully with a bunch of purchases in your cart. That's what IKEA wants. With Apple, similarly, with Apple, it's kind of the same idea. They want you to go a certain path. They want you to hit the settings the way they've intended. They want you to use the phone as they've intended and then use the other products as they've intended. If you're willing to accept that, in this case, I'm assuming you are because you have an iPhone or you're part of the Apple ecosystem, then you're going to really enjoy what Apple has laid out. On the other hand, Android is convoluted. Android is a little chaotic. Android is fun and interesting and quirky and different. Android is about being together, not the same. Android is about being together, but different. So when you go to your new Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus, you're going to be overwhelmed when you see redundant apps, when you see a Samsung browser and then Google Chrome, and then you go into the App Store, download whatever other browser you want to use. Same thing goes for messages. Samsung's own dedicated messaging app. Then you've got Google's messaging app, and then Google's other messaging app, and then other messaging app. You get the point here. Now, if you're willing to give that a shot, if you're willing to try that out, if you're willing to customize your new Samsung S8 or S8 Plus, or even other Android device to your liking, and actually give it a shot, you may be surprised at how much you love Android. And this video, again, is not about, hey guys, screw Apple, because see this? I mean, I've got an iPhone, or screw Android. No, it's just letting you know, because as someone who's used an iPhone for a long time, and as someone who has attempted to persuade my friends and my family away from Apple, not because I dislike Apple, but because I just want them to try something else and then make the decision for them, I know how hard the transition is. It's overwhelming. But if you're able to move past the iMessage, if you're able to move past the ecosystem, and if you're able to move past Apple spoon-feeding you, okay, spoon-feeding you what they think is the best way to enjoy a device, in this case, their phone, the iPhone, then you will be surprised at how much you like Android. And in this case, you're going to fall in love with this massive, beautifully curved S8 or S8 Plus Infinity Edge display. You're going to love the fact that you're going to be able to unlock your phone so many different ways other than just a pin or your fingerprint. You're going to love the fact that Android allows you to actually take your home interface and change it and customize it and tweak it and make it prettier, make it thuggish, make it ghetto, make it sportsy, make it interesting, make it sparkly, make it whatever you want it to look like. That phone is going to be yours. It's not going to be like anyone else's phone because you can make it that way. So once again, guys, if you're willing to change and you're willing to give up those three things, then there's probably right now no better phone to make that change than with the Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus. And I say that because I know there's going to be people who are going to mention stock Android in Google with the Google Pixel, which is a fantastic phone. I've reviewed it. You can check that out in my channel. Okay, I've reviewed it. It's a great phone. But Android is about customability. Android is about tweaks and changes and this and that. Sure, you can get a stock Android phone, Google Pixel, and enjoy it for what it's worth, but you can also get yourself a HTC or an LG or a Samsung and see what it is that they envision is the best way or version of Google. And if you don't like it, you can essentially go back to stock. But you can't do the other way around, or it's very difficult to do. You can't take a stock Google Pixel phone and then make it do all the things that Samsung and their phones do. You can't take a stock Google Pixel phone and then make it do all the things that an LG G6 can do. You get the point. Anyways, guys, I hope this video was helpful to you. If you are waiting to get a Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus, give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comment section below if you're not getting that S8 or S8 Plus, why? If you're deciding to stick with iPhone one more year because you've heard and hope that the next version of the iPhone is going to be fantastic, let me know in the comment section below. What is your reason? What's your thought process? Love to share, and I love to see what other people think about a topic like this. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. I do have unboxings and hands-on and battery tests and camera tests and the whole 9 yards. Reviews for the S8 Plus coming soon. Comparisons with the iPhone 7 Plus. So you already know where you can go to check a real-world review, as well as some possible AirPod final reviews coming up as well. Subscribe, because I'm always going to be pushing out content I appreciate, guys. Nonetheless, catch you in the next video. Peace.